How much difference can one 330 microfarad low ESR capacitor make for your video? We're going to find out. Stay tuned. So for some of you who may not know, a low ESR capacitor helps out with the video noise that you tend to get when the motors are spinning up, the lines in the video and such. And also the low ESR capacitor can also make the quad fly a little bit better. Typically you would mount it right here on the positive and negative terminals on your PDB, and you would use like a 1000 size microfarad. But I just so happen to have this low ESR capacitor from my Runcam Split V2. They actually gave me a 330 microfarad 25 volt low ESR capacitor, and I was just curious, how much video noise do you think this one 330 microfarad low ESR capacitor could actually remove if we go ahead and solder this up to the PDB on the positive and negative lead? I want to see, will it reduce any? Will it reduce none? Is there not going to be much of a difference? I'm very curious to see because, typically you would want 1000 microfarad size, where this is only a 330. But I figured it's got to help some, and we're going to go ahead and solder this up and see what kind of difference it actually makes and do some comparisons. So one thing we're going to need to do is shorten the length of the leads that come on this low ESR capacitor. And if you look at the leads, one is longer than the other. The longer lead is always going to be your positive, and the shorter is always going to be your negative. This low ESR capacitor is actually labeled, so on the side it will show your negative. So once you cut the wires to length, you'll know which side is negative just by looking at the little negative sign on that side of the cap. Went ahead and soldered up the cap. You see there, we got it flowing right into the solder. And let's go ahead and take a look at some footage. Okay, this flight right here, what I'm going to show you is without the capacitor installed. And you'll see when we go to speed the motors up, you'll start to see a little bit of lines. You see those lines? That's what we're looking for. That's what we're trying to eliminate. You see the lines as I fly. Don't worry about the static. The static is not what we're concerned with. That's just the signal from the video. The static right there, don't worry about that. When we punch the throttle, you'll see these kind of lines just kind of go across the screen. And actually, this quad doesn't have really bad lines, really bad noise, but there is some. So when I do like a really good punch, or when I really speed up, you'll start to see those lines. There they are. You see that? We sped up, you saw those lines. That's what we're trying to eliminate or get rid of. So what we'll do is we're going to do a side-by-side comparison of the flight with the capacitor and without the capacitor, and see if we can actually see any kind of a difference. Alright, on the left we have the no capacitor, and on the right we have the capacitor. And you can see the full throttle punch there. Very hard to tell. If there is a difference, it's not a lot. And it's probably why they recommend, going up to 1000 microfarad. This is just a 330. So I don't think it's going to make any kind of a serious difference. Maybe a little bit less noise when you're just kind of cruising around. I noticed that on the left screen it looks like there's a little bit more noise at low and mid throttle. But when you do the full throttle punch, it looks like, there's a slight difference, but it's not a lot. So yeah, it is making a little bit of a difference. So I would say, if that's all you have, go ahead and use it. But if you have a larger capacitor like 1000 microfarad, you might want to use that instead. But I had this one, it was just laying around, so I figured, hey, you know what? Let's go ahead and put it on there, see if it does anything. I don't think the noise is really that awful on this build to begin with. It's definitely flyable enough for me. I can see, very clear. Even when I do hit full throttle, I can still see very clear, and I can see what's around me. So that's going to bring us to the end of this video. I'll leave you with the flight footage, and leave your comments down below What do you think? Do you think there's a difference? Can you see a difference? I myself, if there is a difference, it's very, very small. But I do enjoy making these videos, so leave your comment down below. Thanks for watching, and until next time, edrone out.